What a misery. I suppose he thought he should be served first.
We hear you love cucumbers.
It's just the texture, the crisp, watery texture.
You never regret a cucumber.
You
You're never like, oh, I've overate the cucumber.
I wake up at 3 a.m. I go down and I start to make mayonnaise. It's so weird to think of fish having cheeks. Cheeks and loins. I think I have a leg of haddock. And then I got sent this big manuscript that said Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. And I thought, well, what's this? They make your pee smell of sugar puffs, don't they?
Something I did not know about sugar puffs.
Help me, I'm in hell, but I'm smiling.
Oh, hello. Welcome to Dish from Waitrose. I'm Nick Grimshaw.
And I'm Angela Hartnett.
And we are here on Angecam in the Dish kitchen. And you are making the food for our guest Stephen Fry today.
But what did you just do?
I made these, everyone.
What are they? Tell us.
Wow. Thank you. And so, watch and learn, Ange. Get your cocktail stick.
Marvellous.
You get a little pepper on it, like that. Yeah.
Is there something special about that pepper?
Not really. Pickled.
Oh, okay. Pickled.
Spicy.
Okay. Yeah.
An anchovy. Fold it back on itself. Pop it on. Stick an olive on it. You've got a gilda.
Marvellous.
It's like you're in San Sebastian. And that's it.
So we're in North London.
Is there a reason we're making these?
Yes, we have a great guest on who loves Spanish food.
Oh, that's why. Yes.
Remember, we're doing a podcast.
Yes. So we made these for Stephen Fry because he loves Spanish food.
Yeah.
So we thought we'd make these because San Sebastian.
Lovely.
What else have we got going on here?
Then we've got stuffed peppers with feta and ricotta, and we've got a little salsa verde on top. Then we're going to do cucumbers. He loves cucumber, and we're going to do a little bit of avocado on there and some crab.
Just a warning, that is a hot pepper.
Oh yeah, occasionally you get them.
Real spicy.
So is that you done on your gildas?
Yeah, that was my cooking for the day.
Marvellous.
Yeah.
Can you tidy your mess up now?
Yeah, I'll get rid of this,
Thank
chef.
you. Thank you very much.
Shall we welcome him in?
Yes, let's
do it.
Lord.
Hi, Stephen.
How are you?
Welcome.
I specifically asked for a small table in a corner, not too near the band. And look what you've done.
Look what you've got, the main
So
one.
good to see you. My Hartnett.
Welcome.
How
are you?
Nicholas, how are you?
I'm good. You okay?
Very well.
Yeah,
thanks.
good.
Very
Take
well.
a seat.
Do you want me over there?
Yeah, you go. What do you want to drink?
Ooh. Well,
we're going to have a wine, but do you want a vodka soda, vodka tonic
soda.
or something?
I can tell you a story about the vodka.
Please.
I was sitting, waiting for takeoff on a Qantas flight, and the steward came and sort of squatted in front of me, as if to let me into a very good secret that he was going to open the bar for me rather than just serve the usual orange juice and warm champagne or whatever that you might get. So he said, would you like anything from the bar? And I said, well, could I have a vodka and soda water? And he said, one skinny coming right up. And so when he came back, I said, did you call this drink a skinny? He said, well, that's what they call it on the catwalk, darling, because you get your maximum alcoholic bang for your minimum calorific buck. So I thought about this, and as it happened, it was about this time of year, and so a week or so later, it was Nigella Lawson's birthday, and she was having a party, and we were meeting in a bar somewhere in London before going off to eat. And I thought I'd try out my newfound knowledge, so I said to the barman, can you do me a skinny? And he said, sure. And Nigella was very fascinated. I told her the story of the Qantas steward, and she went, God, that's good. Then I saw her 3 weeks later. She said, oh my God, I made such a fool of myself. I said, what happened? She said, I went into a bar and asked for a skinny. Isn't that fabulous?
We are beside ourselves to welcome the very wonderful Mr. Stephen Fry is here, everybody.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Stephen was just telling us when you came in, you didn't realise there was this setup. There's
No.
a big gang,
Why
big gang.
Huge.
I'm used to a dusty corner somewhere, or even a Zoom for a podcast.
Oh my
Yeah.
God,
I didn't
we could
realise
never.
this was bigger than Saturday brunch or whatever. That
Yes.
We
Yeah.
like to think we're competing with
We're
them.
competing. I just said to Anne, why don't we present Sunday brunch? And she's like, absolutely no way. No, this is as big as it's getting.
This
This is
a
it.
daily commitment. That's
We're
too
going to
much.
start with As directed by Stephen Fry.
A nude.
It's a nude, garnish-free, skinny. So
Cheers,
cheers.
Good
Stephen.
health.
Welcome.
Good
Cheers.
health.
Here we go.
Cheers.
Here's to Nigella.
Always.
Very nice.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's
it
simple,
is.
clean,
Simple.
and pure.
Simple, does
Has
the
to be
job.
good vodka, though. You don't want
Yeah.
that little petrol-y taste that.
No. Well, thank you for coming to see us. We've been very excited you would come in. Have you guys met before? Where have you guys crossed paths?
Few times.
Yeah, I've been lucky enough to have been fed by Angela
Oh,
as well
yes.
as socialising with her. We have mutual friends, particularly
Yeah.
one friend.
Yeah.
But I've also been a customer at Limewood down in
Yes.
the New Forest.
Yes, love it
An
there.
amazing place there. Murano and
Yeah.
other places,
Other establishments.
that you make your own.
Yeah.
And I'm a big fan. I have to
Oh,
say that.
thank you.
You can see the food is beautifully arranged, but it's not. As I was saying earlier to someone before we came on, it's not tight.
No.
It's in the tradition of some of my favourite cooks, like Simon Hopkins and
Yes.
Richard
Oh, we
Corrigan,
love Simon.
and you
Yeah.
all are able to produce food of the highest quality, but without it looking like an art direction.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it's exciting to get
Yeah,
really,
sure.
really remarkable food on the plate in terms of visual appeal, but in the end, it's got to be.
But when it's
Gotta
just
be
one
the
mouthful.
You want
Yeah,
the,
no.
you've got to
Yeah.
have the fishiness of the fish and the
Yes.
Yeah.
laminess of the lamb or whatever it is you're eating, and particularly with vegetables, you've just got to have that
Yeah.
thing, haven't you?
Did you ever think about going that way of, when you see like food with like, a skinny little carrot and a foam? Did you ever experiment
I think
like
you
that?
can have a little bit of that, but
Yeah.
essentially the main product has to be delicious and what it says on the plate, as you say, the fish has got to be great, the meat, in the vegetables, So we do have a little bit of that because chefs do like
Yeah.
to get
Oh,
that,
yeah.
and we're a Michelin star and all the rest of it. But I think in my heart, and I think that's when I've always cooked for Stephen, it's very Simon Hopkinson.
Yeah.
I love that.
So we heard you love Spanish food, so that's where we've got
Yes,
from
I do.
Tapas situation.
So we've got some lovely stuffed peppers with ricotta and feta cheese with a little salsa verde on top.
Perfect.
Then we hear you love cucumbers.
Cucumbers are probably my favourite.
I mean, I've never heard
Fruit. I
anyone
think
love
they're a
them
fruit
so
in fact,
much.
technically, aren't they?
Yeah.
I know they hardly taste of anything.
Yeah.
It's just the texture, the crisp, watery texture.
Yeah.
you never
Okay.
regret a cucumber.
You
That's
You're never like,
true.
oh, I've overeaten a cucumber. Do you know what I mean? You always, it's always an enjoyable little snackette.
I'm just going to check the fish.
Yeah, you check the
And then
fish.
you've got some little cucumbers
this
stuffed
looks
with
good.
some avocado and crab. And then Nick made the gildas. So you
Don't
have to try one
patronise-
of those.
Please try a gilda.
Oh, wonderful.
We've done it with like a pickled spicy pepper, anchovy,
Jalapeno.
and an olive. Yeah.
Oh, all the good adult taste.
All of the good taste. So we'll put that very complex recipe in the show notes on how to. I'll let Ange know how to do it as well.
Thank you,
a little
Nick.
bit
Thanks
later on,
for
yeah.
that.
This is how we've grown up as a nation. In the 60s, it would be cheese and pineapple and possibly a glacé cherry on it.
Yes.
And that would be considered good. Whereas this is everything that when you were a child, you first tried it, you thought, oh no, I've had a bad one. And then you realise it's supposed to taste like that.
Taste like that.
You know,
I remember when I was younger, I always wanted adult tastes when I was a kid.
Really?
Yeah, like I
Gosh.
always wanted to like coffee or olives or like dark chocolate. Did you ever have any tastes as a kid that were, not necessarily for a child that you were
I'm
like, oh,
afraid I
love a
was-
martini?
I was totally a child in my generation. The year I was born, sugar puffs were born.
Oh, yes.
And by the time I was able to pour them out into a bowl and add cold milk, I would just have bowl after bowl, and indeed eat them from the pack like popcorn. They make your pee smell of
They
sugar
do,
puffs, don't
yeah.
they?
And they sort of stick to your hand.
Yeah,
That's
They're
Something I did not know about
objects.
sugar puffs. Yeah.
Yeah,
The sticky bit, but not the pea bit.
Oh, yeah.
Yep,
Right.
like asparagus, only very different.
Yeah, sure.
So you loved a sugar puff as a kid?
Yeah, I wrote a whole sort of screed on my sugar addiction, really, when I was young, and how, in a strange way, I mean, it's an almost accidental. I'm not accusing the commercial entities behind confectionery of this, but at the school tuck shop there was a thing called Spanish galleon, and it was in waxed paper, and it was shredded coconut, but dark. They dyed it with cocoa or something, and it was sold to look like rolling tobacco. Oh, wow. And you could get chocolate cigarettes wrapped in rice paper.
Yes.
And you could get candy cigarettes with a little red end.
I remember those. Yeah.
And you could get, this is getting darker and darker, you could get sherbet fountains where you could suck up a white powder.
Yes.
So they were laying down the conditions for adult addiction in childhood addiction.
I never thought of that.
Yeah.
And then what made you fall in love? I'm going to have to try one of these.
Oh, yes, they're gorgeous.
What made you fall in love with the Spanish taste? Was there a particular trip or a journey that introduced you to
Yes, there was. I made a film back in the 90s, late-ish 90s, I think, called Sabotage,
yes.
in which I played the Duke of Wellington. And it was a sort of farcical comedy, English language, but Spanish produced and directed. In fact, Basque produced and directed. And so we shot in and around Bilbao and the Basque area. And I don't know if you've been to Basque Spain, but it has just about the most fantastic food tradition of any area in Europe, culminating, of course, in San Sebastian, which famously has at least 3-star Michelin restaurants. It's crazy, isn't it?
Why is it, Ange? Why is it San Sebastian has all the Michelin stars and renowned for food?
I don't know. Well, one, I think it is the area, and it's the number of chefs there. Yeah.
Ange, I've got to try one of these peppers.
These peppers, they're so sweet.
Very sweet.
Yeah.
They're stunning.
Yeah. So how did you do these? Did you just
roasted in the oven?
Oh, you roasted
them in the oven, a little bit of salt. Then de-seeded them and then filled them, as I said, ricotta, whipped with a bit of lemon juice.
You de-seed them after they're cooked?
Yes, it's a lot easier that way. They tell you to slit them and then you just literally
scoop them out.
Scoop them out. And then we have a salsa verde on there with some parsley, some basil, some mint, olive oil, Dijon mustard, which I think I put in everything, which I love. A little bit of vinegar and salt.
So
I got your salsa verde in the dish patch.
Oh,
pack,
did you? Yes.
And there was too much of it.
Oh.
Because it was for 8 and only 5 of us. And I had it on every meal from about the Sunday to the Wednesday. Eggs, lunch, the salsa verde was so delicious.
Good.
Had it on everything. In a
It's
coffee.
perfect.
I'm just getting it down me. I heard that you love mayonnaise. And you love to make mayonnaise. Never made mayonnaise in my life.
have you not?
Never ever.
It's a very pleasing thing to do. I find if, as sometimes happens, I wake up at 3 a.m, can't go back to sleep. You know, that tossy and turny feeling. I go down and I start to make mayonnaise. It's kind of bonkers. But it's a mixture of concentration and rhythmic relaxation that I think calms the brain down.
And it's good for like your hands to do things that sort of brings you into your body.
Because if the mind is churning like a full-speed cement mixer, it's good just to try and find ways of getting it.
And does it make you go back to sleep after that?
Yes, and usually then I can go back and go to sleep. Well, in the happy knowledge, there'll be a jar of
mayonnaise.
Fine, yes, with Dijon mustard in it, of course.
Ooh,
Naturally.
But it's amazing if you take a beautiful, ordinary, quite yellowy French mayonnaise and just 1 tablespoonful of hot water and whisk it through, it'll turn white.
Oh, wow.
So it's still got all the flavour.
But mayonnaise experiment.
Well then of course you can do things that are emulsified in the same way as mayonnaise. Anything ending in A's, let's be honest.
Yeah, and any A's. They do say to get up and get out of bed and get on with
I call it mayofulness.
Mayofulness.
Yeah.
Oh, I like it.
It's a form of wellness.
We're going to have our main momentarily.
You've gone very American there. A, you say momentarily, not momentarily. But B, and more important, semantically rather than in terms of pronunciation, momentarily in English means for a moment.
Oh, yeah.
Not in a moment.
In a moment.
So I always used to think when I first went to America and say, I'll be with you momentarily, I thought, well, that's no good. He just appeared.
Hi, they're out.
Gone. But I guess it's crept over the Atlantic
It has.
to you young
Yeah,
spunky
God
radio
damn it.
people.
So influenced by
God
it.
damn it, yeah.
We're
momentarily.
going to be as we are at home, unless you probably change cutlery every time you do a new course.
No,
at home.
not
No.
Lovely. I'm so pleased.
No,
Stephen.
this looks fantastic.
Thank
There
you,
you go.
Angela. The food is here. Ange,
Yes.
what do we have?
So we have cod with one pot cod with peppers, tomatoes, and potatoes
And literally one
Delicious.
pot. So you
Yeah,
poach it.
literally
You poach it
everything.
in the
in
or
the
you-
sauce. Yeah, cooked
How
it in the sauce.
amazing.
Yeah.
Wow, tell us how you did it, Ange. Come on.
So a lovely little base of just the potatoes cooked in a touch of butter for about 10 minutes. Then you add your peppers in, your tinned tomatoes and a little bit of tomato puree. Cook the potatoes in the rest of that tomatoey sauce. And then add your capers. I add a clove of garlic. One of you
Yes.
may have that clove of garlic on your plate, just to season it all up. And then you cook your cod in that sauce on a low heat.
Is cod the best fish for a one pot wonder?
Cod good, yeah.
Yeah.
You just need to watch you don't overcook it because the flakes,
Then
even
it
now,
flakes,
they think.
yeah.
But monkfish is probably your best because it's really meaty and holds
Yes,
together.
it's so meaty, isn't
But
it?
yeah, cod and this way. Sea bass works, or a whole fillet of like sea bream would work as well.
In the Basque country, one
Yeah.
of the most popular dishes that they make themselves every day
Yeah.
virtually is hake cheeks.
Oh, they
with
love that,
parsley
yeah.
and,
Oh,
and
God,
it's
yeah.
so good.
Yeah.
And it's so weird to think of fish having cheeks.
cheeks,
Yeah.
Cheeks and loins. So,
Yeah.
I
You never
I'll
think
have
about
a little bit
cheeks.
I think I have a leg of haddock. Yeah, I think I will. Yeah.
We can revolutionise
Yes.
menus
Or
now.
you
Change it
prefer
all
the
up.
breast?
Yeah, I got a bit of thigh. If you want to try
Yep.
this recipe or any of the recipes that we make on Dish, just go on waitrose.com/dish recipes, and all the recipes are on there. You can try them out. This one is really tasty. It sounds like a walk in the park. There is a wine pairing with this.
Ooh,
And
there
what
we go.
have we got, Ange?
We've got Calmel and Joseph organic Pinot Noir. From the south of France, this Pinot is harmoniously balanced with fruit and freshness with a more spicy, peppery and floral finish. Do we agree?
For sure.
I do agree. Do you like to cook, Stephen?
I do. I get over flustered about. There's a very good book. A friend of mine, Julian Barnes, the novelist,
Okay.
wrote. Just a small book that he gave as a gift to the world. I think it's called The Pedant in the Kitchen.
Okay.
In which he agonises over a pinch,
Yeah.
a touch, a sprinkle. You know, he said, I looked these up. They don't exist as units. How
Yes.
much is that? Did I
Yeah.
do too much? You know,
Yeah.
you start to obsess about the details of a recipe, and it sort of tenses you up a bit because you must put that in that order and this way.
Yeah.
And you watch a good natural chef as well as a good trained and a good experienced chef, and they're so much more relaxed about the way they do everything.
Yeah.
And I think that, and I say that indeed about mayonnaises to people who are just starting their mayonnaise journey.
That's me.
Is
Any mayonnaise
is that the
novice.
mayonnaise knows if you're frightened of it, and it will
Yes.
split
Yes,
straight away.
yeah.
It will know, and you'll swear you drop the oil in slowly.
Yeah,
you'll
yeah,
swear,
yeah,
but
yeah.
it will know you're frightened. And I think that's sort of you can expand that to food
Yeah.
generally. You know, there's the pan. It knows if you're just going ooh, and
Yeah.
how much of
Yeah.
that?
It does know. And then it
Whereas if you're
burns,
just
yeah.
slinging it in, you know.
But that's what my brother said to me because he always rings up. He lives in New York and he'll ring up about Thanksgiving. He's got it mastered
Oh, right.
now. But for a while he'd ring up at 12 o'clock, sort of noontime, you know, so the end of November, we get into Christmas and start wanting recipes about Thanksgiving. And I would say things like, exactly like, I said, just sprinkle a bit of that or lob that in the pan and just, and he goes, what am I lobbing? You're not articulating
Lob
here.
it in.
I said, I said, a handful of butter. He goes, but how much is a handful? And absolutely, now when I talk to someone, I get that.
Yeah.
Because I could say that to Neil, my husband, and he would absolutely get it. But if you're not, I can, you know.
I don't know what happened, but there was always like a. And before I did Dish, I was always a bit of a nervous cook.
Yeah.
So if people were coming, I'd see it as if it was some test on
Yeah.
who I was as a person.
Exactly.
And the best thing that I've learned from Angela, and people always say like, "Oh, you must be amazing now." And I said, "No, but what I have learned is that Angie's just so relaxed and just like it's just a bit of food." And just to see what happens. And I'd see you cook sometimes and you like take some, you know, liquid out or you'll
Yeah.
add a bit of water. I'm like, oh, you can just add, of course you can just add a bit of water. That's it. And you see like put a bit of water and I'm like, oh yeah, chefs do that.
Yeah.
So I think it's that your relaxed energy
Yes.
and your confidence in
Yeah.
it is what makes it so delicious.
Absolutely.
Don't be scared of the pan.
Yeah.
It's like I always sometimes think my hair knows if it's a big day. And that's why you have a bad hair day, because you're like nervous doing it. You're like, oh, I've had a bad hair day.
Yeah.
And it's like, because you
They
got to
know.
show
They
your
set
hair and
you
your
up.
pan and your mayonnaise who's
Would
boss.
you like some more, Stephen?
I would love some. That was absolutely lovely.
You've got to show me who's boss.
Thank you
Well,
so
there's no
much.
doubt in Ange, the pans know your boss. Can we talk about your new book, Odyssey?
Oh, please, yes.
Please,
That's very
let's
nice
talk
of you.
us about
Yeah.
this, because this is something that you started in 2017, this series, and it's you reimagining these,
The Greek
wonderful
myths.
Greek stories and Greek myths. What made you fall in love with these stories? Did you read them when you were younger?
I did,
Yeah.
and I was captivated by them. There is a certain age you get when you are ready to be bombarded with a new excitement, a new thrill, a new hobby, a new passion, a new source of collecting information. For a lot of kids, it's football. It's their local club. Nothing wrong with that. And they learn everything about
Yeah.
it. They could go and mastermind for their club and its history. Or I can remember boys at school who drew. No, that's No, I'd say, oh, look, there's a nice Messerschmitt. It's a Messerschmitt 109E. They would be very specific about it. You note the forward gun emplacement and through the propeller or whatever, all this stuff. And that was their passion. And for me, for some reason, Greek myths just hit me.
Yeah.
And for the retelling, there's something very pleasing about the fact that, unlike most mythic titles, it really does have a beginning and end. The universe begins, and then the world and light and dark, and these primitive early gods, and then a new generation, and then a third generation become the Olympian gods that most people will know the names of, Apollo and Zeus and so on. And it ends with this fourth one that I've just written, Odyssey. The Greeks had a very high sense, in fact all cultures have had a very high sense of the central, and I use the word very advisedly, the central importance of the hearth. In fact, the English word hearth gives us a clue, because the first 5 letters of it are heart, and it is the same origin as heart, the hearth. It's the heart of the house. And the Greeks used cardia as well as oikos to mean hearth. Cardia means hearth, as in cardiac. And the Latin for hearth is focus. And we've taken that word and we've extracted all these metaphorical meanings for focus, but it originally meant the fireplace at the centre of a house.
Yeah.
This whole idea of hearth and home, the impulse, the energy, the agony almost, the tension and the excitement of the Odyssey is a man trying to get home.
Yeah.
It's been a fabulous Odyssey myself to follow it and to retell it, and it's been great.
And you can also get this as an audiobook.
Indeed,
and
you
people
can.
and listen to you tell the story of the Odyssey. How do you find recording those, and how do you find the reaction? Because you've voiced many a book, and you've voiced the Harry Potter books. Like, people must have such great memories of your voice in their head.
It's extraordinary, because when in the mid-90s I was asked by my agent, did you want to do a children's story? And I pictured, the boy and the cat went to see the girl and the dog. And the end.
Yeah.
Great story.
That'll
Very
be
moving.
half a morning, that'll be.
Yes, yeah.
And then I got sent this big manuscript that said, Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, what's this? And started to read and thought it was captivating and said, yes, I'll do it, but it's an adult-sized novel.
Yeah.
And then I watched this phenomenon grow and grow and grow until it became simply unprecedented and almost unbelievable what was going on. And of course, it was cassettes in those days. I mean, half the job wasn't reading the novel. It was at the end when they go, okay, now the cassettes. I go, oh, right. Cassette A, side 1. Cassette A, side 2. Cassette B, side 1. End of side 1. End of side B. Oh God, did I get it wrong?
What's going on?
On and on you go.
Well, it's funny. My friend, she always listened to, even as an adult, you reading Harry Potter, and then even when she was married to a husband, she'd be like, "Night, and have to put Stephen Fry on. And he'd be like,
Poor
oh,
husband.
God. And then at home...
There are 3 of us in this marriage.
Her, George, and Stephen Fry. We're going to do our
Yeah.
fast food quiz with you. This is a quick fire response.
Okay.
It's never quick fire, so no
Fair enough,
pressure.
you.
Stephen Fry, what is your favourite form of potato? Mashed! That was quick.
Oh, yeah, that was mashed. Okay, your favourite sandwich filling?
Egg.
Egg, yeah, I love that.
What's your favourite crisp?
Salt and vinegar.
Correct.
Your favourite kitchen utensil?
I mean, I do like a good cherry pitter, just because you do feel you're really getting it done. You know,
Yeah.
it's a little thing that you just press with your thumb,
Yeah.
and out comes, and you get covered in cherry juice.
Feels like you've worked,
yeah.
though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it feels like you've
Yeah.
been on the farm there.
Yeah, that's it.
Favourite pasta?
That's a really good question. Really good question.
Because there's no wrong answer.
No, there isn't. Linguine.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
one.
you get the joy of spaghetti, but the little hint of the flatness of a tagliatelle.
Yes, I like a linguine.
Yeah.
Please choose your festive favourites from the following: panettone or Christmas pudding.
Oh, Christmas pudding.
Correct.
Mulled wine or mulled cider?
Mulled wine.
Okay.
Stuffing or pig in blanket.
Stuffing.
The mince pies, hot or cold?
Well, I like both, to be honest. I really do. But hot with double cream. Is
Oh,
just
yes. I
fantastic.
love that. I do as well.
And do you think mash belongs on a Christmas dinner plate, or would you say roast potato?
I would say roast potatoes myself. Mash is, as we know, is the Thanksgiving.
Yes.
And indeed, in the South, they put marshmallows in it.
Yes. Also
Which
love.
sounds terrible, but actually, if you're there.
When we were chatting about you coming on, we were saying, you get asked that question, like, who'd be on your dream dinner party list? And I reckon a lot of people would go
Yes,
Stephen Fry.
of course.
We said Stephen Fry, hence why you're here. But do you ever throw quite a fab dinner party and invite like a who's who of who cares?
Well, I mean, I have done, but I think I can say this with all absolute truth, that I've never assembled the list in order for it to be people who are so-called great and good. They are friends or people I think would like to meet the other people I've invited. But sometimes you look at it and think, oh, blimey. I mean, for birthday parties or something, you think that's a lot of pythons or whatever. And I think, and there I was when I was 13, and I didn't, the idea that I could meet one of these was impossible. So, but being in the public eye, and you probably feel the same, is a picnic. You get seats at wonderful performances of plays and concerts and whatever. You can always ring up late and say, is there any chance of me getting up? I'm so sorry. Or we'll see what we can do. It's unfair, but it is one of the reasons being well known is a picnic and people are nice to you. But all picnics are likely to be threatened by wasps. and being in the public eye, the wasps are social media and indeed mainstream media, as Trump likes to call them. They occasionally mean you have to just run for home because you can't take any more of their buzzing and stinging. Yeah. I can see why people will watch a figure in the public eye and think, oh, of course, they only go in their car there and they can go to that private members club. But I used to like, when I was a student, I used to like pubs. I just liked the atmosphere of them, and I could nurse a drink for 2 hours, and then just have a packet of crisps or some pork scratchings or whatever, and it was like, but I literally find it impossible to go into pubs now. Not because people are mean or not because people crowd me out, but there'll always be someone who says, oh, Steve, let me buy you a drink. Yeah. Now, what do you do to that?
Yeah, of course.
If you say yes, you have to be a member of their group and talk to them for as long as it takes to drink the drink, and possibly a bit longer, especially if they're a bit drunk and they're putting their arm around you. Go, no, because Steve, because I don't bullshit. See? No, that's it. Because I'm real. You see, I'm real. I can't bear those people who aren't real.
Please don't say they call you Steve. Steve.
All of that.
Steve.
On the other hand, if you say no, I'm just offering you a drink.
Yeah.
What's wrong with it?
Yeah,
Why are you going to have a
You're
drink.
the
Oh,
bad
you're so
guy.
stuck up.
Yeah.
You just cannot win. It's very tricky. And I'm, as I say, I'm not moaning. I know how blessed my life is.
Yeah.
It would be fun to just go to a pub.
Yeah, just relax.
But you're always on display slightly. Plus, you have to have a stupid smile on your face. You know, if you're in a shop and there's a queue for the till, and you happen to be in a bad mood, you mustn't show it because people think, I saw that Stephen.
Stephen Fry and John
What
Lewis.
a misery!
Be so rude.
What a misery!
Yeah.
Oh my! I suppose he thought he should be served first.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. I got caught in
So instead, you have this smile plastered on your face. Like, help me! I'm in hell, but I'm smiling.
We come to the end of the show question. This is a question for you, Stephen Fry, in this envelope.
Special envelope.
If you choose to answer this question, this Waitrose goodie bag is yours. Full of
Delights.
goodness and
I
delights.
say.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on, Dish. We've been thoroughly entertained. You wrote that before.
I wrote that
came
just
on.
now.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
On your typewriter, with
Yeah.
your best typewriter handwriting. We couldn't think of a question you wouldn't be able to answer, but we got excited about the format title, Stephen's Fry Up, and wondered if you'd indulge us. What is the perfect fried breakfast?
Yeah, come on.
Well, now again, you come to real sources of argumentation here. Obviously, anywhere north of, well, Leicester, certainly, you would have to include black pudding.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm on for that. I like black
I
pudding.
think
You're a
that's-
northerner.
yeah.
You-
I love it.
definitely.
I really like black pudding. It works extraordinarily well. That's like breadiness in it.
Yeah.
Soaks up bits of extra egg yolk and so on. And if I'm just saying, to hell with the consequences, I would probably want fried bread. Because it's so good.
Yeah.
If it's just crisp but with a give and softness.
Yes.
I'm not a believer that baked beans should be involved. I love baked beans.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I'll have baked beans as soon
not
as
get on
anyone.
Twitter now. We
No,
don't need to do
exactly.
that.
I love a baked bean
Yeah.
and companions, but with a proper fry up. Which, interestingly, of course, we say the Great British Breakfast in Northern Ireland, as you know, it's called an Ulster fry.
Right, yeah.
I was in Uganda filming years ago, and I was in one hotel, and they offered a best breakfast. And I said, you're in trouble here because I was in Entebbe just yesterday in a hotel, and they offered the best breakfast. So who is the best breakfast? We both do the best breakfast, he said, puzzled. I said, how can you both be best? He said, best, bacon, egg, sausage, tomato.
Amazing. Best breakfast.
So even in Uganda, it's a pretty standard thing
It's
to
very
have
standard,
a fry up. But yes, obviously bacon, obviously sausage,
Yes.
good juicy pork sausage, and I prick it and then drop some Liam Perrins in it.
Ooh, that's a
Don't
nice
you know?
little touch.
And eggs, obviously perfectly fried.
Yes.
You can do them American style over easy if you like, but I'd rather have the sunny side up with a little petticoat of little lace of slightly better cooked white at the edges.
Yes.
You know.
Petticoat. Isn't that a beautiful
petticoat of a
description
fried
to
egg.
end on? Oh my God.
Stephen, thank you for joining
You've
us.
been amazing.
It's been a
That was
joy.
Thank you.
fantastic.
Well, thank you
so
for
much.
cooking for me.
Pleasure,
It's always
pleasure.
a delight.
It was delicious.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Really was.
Really
Thank
was.
you.
A round of applause for Stephen Fry, everybody. Thank you, Stephen.
And you have won the bag.
And you have won the bag.